Joining us now in the Hyundai Texans radio studio, Texans general manager Nick Caserio. Nick, how's it going?
Good morning.
All right, 2 games played, Nick, and defensively, definitely good low point totals for the opponents. I know you weren't able to close out these games, but fourth quarter leads. Tell us your thoughts through 2.
Yeah, we're close. Just haven't been able to finish, like you mentioned. Some areas we played a little bit better than others. There's certainly been some positives. I think overall as a team, we just have to execute in the fourth quarter. Take advantage of the opportunities when we get them. Defensively, play good in the red area, played pretty good on third down here over the first 2 weeks, been able to take the ball away. To make some adjustments or some improvements in a running game. It'll certainly be a challenge this week with Chicago's running attack and Montgomery specifically. And offensively, just trying to find a way to move the ball and score points. And ultimately, that's what offensive football is about, just trying to figure out a way to do that. So try to get to work this week and see if we make some improvements and see if we make some progress against a pretty good Bears team that probably not a lot of people know about, but they've got a lot of good players. So certainly a challenge in front of us.
Nick, we'll get to the Bears in a little bit. Your thoughts about the young guys in the secondary, in particular Derek, going up against Cortland Sutton for a lot of that game on Sunday. And I don't think people really truly understand how good a receiver Cortland Sutton is and what a test that was for Derek. What did you think when you went back and watched the film?
Yeah, playing corner in the NFL, it's probably one of the most difficult jobs. So there's a lot of good players on the offensive side of the ball. And we saw, watch the games last night. Diggs, whether it's A.J. Brown, there's a good receiver on the opposing team. Mooney this week, every week. So how we match that, how we play that defensively is probably going to change week to week, but there's going to be challenges when you play in the perimeter, and it's about really having a short-term memory. They're going to be contested catches, and they're going to make a play, we're going to make a play, but that's just the reality of playing corner in this league. So each week's going to be its own set of challenges. I would say Sutton, to your point, John, is probably as good a receiver in the league that not too many people talk about. He's big, he's strong, he's fast, he's got strong hands. So those are the challenges you're going to face each week when you play corner. Usually the opposing team is going to have a pretty good player, and we're going to have to stop him when it matters most.
How about the pass rush, couple of offseason acquisitions, Jerry Hughes last week, and then, of course, Rasheem Green this week, paying dividends for you. I know it's a stat sheet thing, but it's not all about the stat sheet, yet it's nice to see that.
Yeah, it's not all about stats. Sometimes it's just about being able to disrupt the quarterback. It doesn't necessarily translate into sacks or quarterback hurries, but I'd say in Rasheem's case, took advantage of some opportunities there on Sunday. Couldn't play the first week, kind of missed some time there in training camp. But he's had, over the course of his career, he's shown at different points the ability to affect the quarterback in a positive vein, whether it's from the perimeter as an edge rusher or inside as a kind of an interior rusher, depending on the package and situation. But he's got good size. He's got pretty good length. He runs well, fairly instinctive player. So we were happy that we were able to get Rasheem on the team. Hopefully it translates into consistent production week to week. So with Mario kind of being out here for a little bit, there's an opportunity. So between him, JG, and Jerry, so that group hopefully can provide us some positive plays here, when we need it.
In the run game, Nick, we've talked about this a lot, about seeing improvement in the run game. You had some pops. Some big pops in the run game. I think Damian's first 10 runs, I think he was like 5 yards a carry, I believe. What do you think about how he ran the ball and how the offensive line going against a different type front? Hadn't seen a 3-4 front much. How'd you think that all went together?
Yeah, certainly some positives. When you average 4.5, almost 5 yards a carry, so it's a combination of the offensive line doing a good job, executing their blocks, the backs reading the play. There was a couple run reads that probably could have gone a different way. Maybe could have read the play maybe a little bit better, but that comes with experience. But I think the ability to push the pile and gain kind of those extra yards after contact is certainly something that we were able to do on Sunday. To your point, a different front structure that we saw last week. This week it's going to be not our defense, but more closer to our defense, or kind of like Lovey mentioned the other day, I believe. It's kind of in the same family here a little bit. But that's each week we're going to have to figure out what's the front, how are we going to run the ball, what are some of the runs that suit that front, and to be able to go out there and execute them. And, we showed the ability to do that when given the opportunity on Sunday against Denver.
Nick, the passing attack, I know you're not where you want to be on third down in that game anyway, and what's it going to take to improve in that category and overall collectively through the air?
Yeah, as a team, it's just going to come down to basic execution. So, there's a timing element, there's an understanding the play, understanding the coverage, understanding where we go with the football. Each play, it's going to change, what happens post-snap, and being able to anticipate what the defense is going to do. So there's no magic formula. It's going to take a lot of work, and it's about executing the plays properly, and then taking advantage of the opportunities when we get them. And relative to third down, trying to keep it in manageable situations, which we were able to do that. We didn't execute the short yardage play. We had a couple other third and call it less than 4 where probably done a little bit better job executing the play. We've been able to stay on the field, which sustain drives, which gives the opportunity to kind of get in the end zone. So overall, as a team, we just have to focus on our execution and get better in the areas that we need to improve.
Other than asking you about rookies, this is my favorite time of the week, is when I ask you about the next team. Because I know by the time we've talked to you, you've put that game in the rearview mirror, and that's Chicago Bears. And it's a team that we know probably a little bit about because Matt Eberflus was defensive coordinator for the Colts. I've seen the Colts a few times. But on the flip side, we haven't played the Bears much at all, and they've got Justin Fields pulling the trigger. So, Nick, what are your thoughts about the Bears? Where are their strengths coming into this one against us?
Yeah, I'd say it's been an interesting team to study over the last few weeks or so. So we'll start at the top with Matt. So Coach Eberflus is really good coach, was a good coordinator there in Indianapolis for a long time. He was with Coach Pinkel at Toledo and then Missouri. And he actually started his career in Cleveland, I believe, with Coach Mangini under Rob. And Rob Ryan was the defense coordinator at the time, so they're more 3-4 principles. And eventually, when he got to Dallas, kind of transitioned there a little bit with Coach Marinelli and some of the front and how they played defensively, and then carried that over to Indy. So I would say it's the Indy defense that we've seen the last few years with the Chicago personnel. They have 17 new players on defense, so they have a lot of new players. They have some players that have experience in Matt's system, so kind of helps their overall, I would say, development and transition there. But so Matt's a really good coach. The one thing that stands out about them is the takeaways. I want to say over the last 4 years, their defenses have 105 takeaways, so they take the ball away. Really put an emphasis on taking the ball away, similar to kind of what we emphasize on defense. So more of a four-man front, a little bit different than the Denver front. I'd say they have probably a lot of underrated players that not a lot of people talk about. Jalen Johnson is probably as good a corner there is in the league. Young player. He's got good size. He's got good length. You don't complete a lot of passes on him, so you're going to have to run a lot of good routes. Roquan Smith has been as productive a tackler, I think, since he's been in the league. He's had over 100 tackles a year. So kind of good at all three levels of the defense, and even going back to secondary, Eddie Jackson is a very instinctive player with really good ball skills, kind of a ball hawking, and then after he gets the ball in his hands, he has, I want to say, 3 or 4 long returns for touchdowns. So, and then the front, they brought Muhammad over, who was with Indianapolis last year. Robert Quinn is as good of a pass rusher as in the league, so his ability to disrupt the quarterback, I think he had 18.5 sacks last year. So, and they have 17 new players on that side of the ball. And then offensively, Coach Getsy, his background coming from Green Bay, some of the things that they did. The run game is going to be a big part of it. Montgomery has been as productive a back as there's been in the league. Hard to tackle, low center of gravity, gets yards. I think he ran for over 100 yards the other night against Green Bay. And Justin is kind of his own unique player from the standpoint. He's playing quarterback, but he's really a running back when he has the ball. I mean, he's big, he's fast, he's got a big arm, and they kind of do things to kind of accentuate some of the things that he does well. So I'd say tackling is certainly going to be at a premium with their skill players. Mooney, kind of we talked a little bit about Sutton. I would say he's a different type of receiver than Sutton, but equally as productive in his respective capacity. 2 good tight ends. And the offensive line, they've kind of had some moving parts just relative. Jenkins moved inside, drafted tackle Braxton Jones here in the 5th round, so he's playing. So a lot of new faces. I would say how they want to play is similar to how we want to play in all areas. So, in the end, it's going to come down to preparation. It's going to come down to execution. But in some respects, we're kind of playing an NFC version of the Houston Texans.
Nick, they played in that monsoon game in the opener, and if there's a situation like that, I mean, just at large, do you focus on that? Like down the line, we're going to play at this place, and let's watch out for this aspect of it or that aspect of it. How does that work?
It's an interesting question, Mark. You're not playing the elements. I think understanding how to play within the elements is important, and you never know when it's going to happen. It's like Tennessee last year. We basically played in a rainstorm, the first road game down there in Tennessee. So you really don't know what's going to happen. You can try to assimilate it as much as possible, but the climate in Houston is not necessarily as conducive. I mean, we get more thunder showers than we do maybe extensive downpours on playing a monsoon like they played the game in there, week 1. So you adjust to, I would say, whatever the circumstances are. The play calling might be affected a little bit. Maybe some players are a little bit more effective than others, so you might modify how you call it on all 3 phases. So I think you just have to be ready to react to whatever the situation is and the circumstances are.
What about the field conditions, though? And we need to change our cleats. Who makes out the packing list? Because it changes sometimes, right? You're going to play a snow game or something like that.
Yeah, no, you're always looking ahead. So what's the weather going to be like on Sunday? Okay, what are some of the things that we may or may not need? Looks like it's actually going to be a decent day on Sunday. One of the things they did, they resodded the field. I want to say 2 or 3 weeks ago, so it was before the San Francisco game. So the new surface looks like it held up okay. So other than getting a lot of moisture, so again, you're not really playing the elements. You just have to be prepared for the elements, whatever they are.
Nick, you mentioned a guy that I don't want to say I fear, but he's a guy just because of his instincts and the way he plays the game is Eddie Jackson. And a guy at Alabama that played a lot of corner. He comes to the league, he moves to safety. You had a guy like that played corner and then moved to safety in Devin McCourty. And they're similar in their instincts, their ball hawking skills. How did corner make Eddie a better player and make him such a good player the same way maybe it did for Devin?
No, it's an interesting thought. I would say not all corners can make the transition to safety. Again, everybody looks at defensive backs, and there's certain attributes that a defensive back has to possess that are important to the position. I would say instinctiveness, awareness, tackling, those are things that are relevant. The ability to cover a player one-on-one, maybe there's more emphasis playing corner. Does the player, can he do that on a consistent basis? Or maybe there's another position we might find we're able to accentuate some of his skills. So Eddie had a lot of experience playing multiple roles, like Devin, like you mentioned. In Devin's situation, he was an all-pro corner as a rookie or his first or second year, and then he transitioned to safety. Eddie's been I'd say, consistently productive safety. But the way you see the game and view the game at safety is different than corner. At corner, it's really the player across from you, and it's really more that side of the field. Safety is a little bit more all-encompassing, so the ability to see the whole field, see the play, see the concept, see the formation, read the quarterback, break on the ball, watch a quarterback's eyes, put yourself in a position. I'd say that's probably the biggest difference between playing corner and playing safety is the ability to have more of a bigger picture, and there's a certain level of communication that is involved from the safety in terms of coverage adjustments, in terms of checks, because the information is going to go probably top down, so from safety to linebacker to the front, whereas corner, you're getting the information from the safety or from somebody else. So not everybody can do it. Not everybody can handle it. I think we've talked about this even going back to last year. Guys like Poyer, guys like Micah Hyde, who played corner in college, they've transitioned into, in their particular situation, 2 of the better safeties in the league. So it's not for everybody. It's just, what is the player's skill set? Do we think he can make that transition? And is it the best position for him within the construct of the defense?
I like to visit on this topic throughout the season, Nick. You continue to evaluate the college players and the draft class for next year. What does the board kind of look like right now? In what form is it? We don't have pictures, so verbally, if you could take us through it.
Yeah, I'd say it's in the infantile stages. So we've had 2 to 3 weeks of information that comes in. We get reports uploaded to our database on, I'd say, a weekly basis with the corresponding grades. So by position, here are the grades that have come in. Here's Joe Smith. We see him as this level of player. Here's the grade associated with it. And then there's other information that I'm receiving from some of our other scouts as well in terms of their trips. So you're just I would say at this point in the infantile stages, and you're just processing a lot of information as it comes in. I mean, colleges have only played 2 or 3 games, so you really don't have a big body of work specific to this season. You may have a player who's in his senior year. You have some level of experience in previous seasons. You can kind of go back and see what are some of the things that we said about him last year. Maybe it's an early entry junior that didn't come out. We did a lot of work on him in leading up to the draft. Well, he's gone back, so you're just kind of following up. So I'd say we still have a long way to go within that process. We're just accumulating a lot of information and trying to organize it in a somewhat, functional way.
Nick, you can only have so many scouts out there, and they can only be in one place at a time. If you go see a guy in week 1, week 2, I would imagine you go back and revisit that particular school or revisit that particular player at some point later down the line. Are there particular points at which you want to see that, like beginning of the season, middle of the season, end of the season? Do you kind of want to see it like that, or how do you kind of look at that as it pertains to players?
Yeah, it's probably specific to the player, and it's really, John, probably a combination of all 3. So you might go into a school in August, maybe just see him practice, maybe see him live at a game, and then maybe go back into the school October, November, see if there's any new information that's come up between the first time that you were there to the present time. So you're constantly, that's the job of the area scout.
Yep.
They're typically living in the area, so they have access to a lot of information. They can get to the school, I would say, as much as needed. And you're really just trying to confirm information that you've accumulated and just try to see if everything matches up. So I would say that's really the benefit of multiple visits. And in the end, you're just trying to create a profile and a picture of the player so that when you actually bring that player into the building, you understand everything that comes along with it.
Nick, how many slices of deep dish pizza will you have this weekend?
0. I probably just offended the entire city of Chicago.
That was just so easy. That was just.
I know.
That was
sorry.
coming.
I'm not going to have
You
it
told
either.
in the radio business, don't ask a question.
I don't like
you know the
deep
answer
dish.
to.
I don't like deep dish. Thin crust, please.
Oh.
All right, there we go.
If I have to eat pizza, I'm probably more of a thin crust
See?
person. So
we got something there,
What
Johnny.
would be the instance that would make you eat pizza? You get invited to a friend's house, they offer
I
you
know.
pizza.
Rehearsal dinner for a very important wedding, and it's like, that's it. We gotta
Wait
go
a
for
second. Who is having
the
pizza
daughters are getting
at a
married.
rehearsal
Right.
dinner?
Oh, wait, you're paying for that, though.
Well,
so-
sometimes our Friday routine has been the girls like pizza on Friday. So if they get pizza, maybe I'll have a slice of their pizza. So within reason.
That all goes to the top of the list. Okay, that's understandable.
Very good.
I don't
Nick,
even know that I want to ask about pizza toppings. Should we hold? No,
Veggie.
no, not doing it.
Very
No.
basic. Very basic.
There we go. Nick, thanks so much for joining us. Good luck this week.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to know when we post new content.